Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette. Today we're going to talk about trying new things, and that is trying things that you're afraid to do for whatever reason, whether you're afraid of failure or afraid of getting hurt or just simply afraid. I heard a quote on TV that said, "If you don't do what you're afraid of, you will regret it." And I believe that to be true because when I look back on the things that I was afraid to do, it made me miss opportunities. So what makes us afraid? I think it all goes back to what we've talked about over and over again, and that is living in the present moment. I think it's your mind creating the catastrophic outcomes that probably won't happen. Rarely do they happen. And more than likely, you're going to do a good job. If you can be in the present moment and just be you and do things as they come, I believe that is the best way to do your best job, because our own minds, as much as we need our mind and as happy as we are to have a sound mind, they will sabotage you with catastrophic outlooks, catastrophic end games. But that's not to say that you don't need to be prepared when you are going to try something new. Whether it's a hobby like skiing, or whether it's a job interview or getting on stage and performing, whatever it is, you need to prepare yourself. You need to study everything that you can study about it, whether it be something you study either through a book or online or with a teacher, with an instructor. Because the more that you're prepared, the more confidence you'll have. And the more confidence you have, the better job you'll do and the more present you can stay. Because your mind can't really attack your thoughts and have a catastrophic outlook if you are prepared and confident in what you're doing. And that brings it to just knowing that you will do a good job. Usually you find this more or less in young people when they start out with sports or whatever. If they don't walk into the baseball diamond or whatever and be the very best, they get upset and cry, but they're not willing to put in the work. And it's real interesting because you have to put in the work. I have realized that we can be anything that we want to be, anything. And that is so exciting, but you've got to learn how to do it. But on that note, remember, never, ever compare yourself to the other person who is there for the same reason. Because how they do doesn't matter. We don't know what the person who's interviewing us or who's looking for somebody to do a specific thing for them, we don't really know what they're looking for. As I've said many times, we are unique in who we are, what we do, the way we carry ourselves, the way we talk, the way we act, the way we're built, the way we sit, the way we smile. Nobody else is like us. So stop comparing yourself to the other people. But do put one foot in front of the other. Do the legwork. Walk forward. And as we talked about before also is starting the next best chapter in your life. And with starting the next best chapter of your life, more than likely it's going to come with a new you in terms of career or hobby that you're getting into, whatever it is. So you need to be prepared. So the new you, the new best chapter, it's very exciting to get started and prepared. And so you're confident when you go into it that you're going to do the best that you can do, that you can be. And believe me, I have not a doubt in the world that we can all be good at anything if we're willing to put the time and effort into it. I remember, it's been a while, about 10 years, I was in the hospital. I had an infection anyway. And when I got out, I was very, very weak and I wanted to do something to help myself. Plus, being in an institution for so long, I needed something to make me happy. Well, my girlfriend had lost her home, and so I invited her to come to my hometown and move in with me. And when she did, she proceeded to tell me that she used to do dragon boat racing in the area that she was from. And I said, oh, that sounds so neat. I wish I could do something like that. But being a sickly person at the time and weak, I thought there's just no way. And she responded with, you can do it. Anybody can do it. So I looked up dragon boat racing. Well, there wasn't any dragon boat racing in my hometown, but there was boat rowing. So I called the lady in charge and she said, oh, anyone can do it. It's adaptive rowing. So we kind of adapt to everybody's situation. So when I first arrived, I was still somewhat sickly, very weak, and I got on a rowing machine, and it's about 2 minutes in, literally 2 minutes in, I was exhausted, couldn't go any further. But then I continued to add on a few more minutes every day, and then ultimately ended up in a real boat out on the water and would swing my paddles way up in the air like you're not supposed to do. And they worked with me on that. And as time went on and I got better and better at it, I learned right then and there. That was such a lesson. That was a bigger lesson in life than learning to row was. But I learned that if you work hard enough at something, you will become good at it. And it's your level of good, which is always good enough. If you're sincere and honest with yourself and you know you're trying your best and you've studied and you've done the homework and you've done the putting of the one foot in front of the other and done the best you can do, then that is good enough because it's your best. And this podcast is all about being your best self. So as we enter into the next best chapter of our life, we're shedding all the negativity, letting everything go, and correcting your own thoughts, working hard at being in the present moment, finding what you enjoy, what you would like to do, whether in the level of a hobby or a career or starting out as a hobby and turning into a career as time goes. Not comparing yourself to anybody else, but being your best at it and knowing sincerely that you've done the homework, that you've learned about it. We all need to learn. We had to learn to walk. We had to learn to write. Everything is a learning process, but the good news and the exciting news is that we are capable of learning anything. And believe me, that feels so good. It gives you a confidence. And you know within yourself that you are good at that particular thing. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It doesn't matter what anybody else does. There's a knowing within ourselves that we have accomplished that. And what's interesting about it is once you accomplish one thing, you have this innate desire to accomplish more, and it just builds on and on and on from there. So get up and get excited about the next best chapter of your life. You have to do all the preliminaries, eating right, exercising, but also finding where you want to go from here in terms of hobby or a career. And a little side bonus through that, I talked about a couple episodes ago, is the people you meet along the way that share the same interests that you share. So that opens your life up to meeting like-minded people, a whole new group of people. And that in itself is exciting. So all of this put together becomes a very exciting component to who you are. And one day you'll look back and say, wow, I can't believe I used to live like that. When there's so much opportunity out there, so many things we can do, so many hidden talents within all of us. And it's bringing out that talent or that part of us that makes us who we are. I believe we all have a hidden talent. By talent, I mean something that we're passionate about, something that we can develop to be very good at, but most of all, something that we love. And you become good because you're happy doing it. Another component to putting all of this together is when you become confident, you don't need so much approval from outside sources. You give yourself approval. So when you're with someone, you're with them because you want to be with them, because you enjoy being with them, not because you need their approval. You need them to accept you because you accept you. And you're with people that you enjoy being around, and they enjoy being around you as well. Our goal, I would hope in life, is to fill our lives with people that reciprocate when we give to them in terms of love, time, energy. And it's so exciting to watch the exchange, because if we're stuck in the mode where we don't want change, then I think we miss opportunities. But if we're open to change, open to allowing new people into our life, doesn't mean we have to get rid of the old. There's plenty of room for everybody. But finding people who value you and you sense that, oh my gosh, it lifts your self-esteem to be surrounded by people that are supportive, that are also confident, that you know truly are there for you. It raises your self-esteem and your confidence. But at the same time, you will find you don't need to be around that many people as much as you used to, because you're enjoying yourself, you're enjoying the new you, you're enjoying this new chapter in your life, you're enjoying being your best self. So get started. Start with the eating right, the exercising, the thinking correctly, trying to live in the present moment. From there, try to figure out what you want to do, where you want to go, what your interests are, what your hobbies are, what career changes you want to make, and then study it and work at it and be the best that you can be at that particular thing. And along the way, be open to the benefits of meeting new people, meeting like-minded people, meeting new friends, new relationships of all kinds. And that is getting your next chapter in place, in line. And then when you live it, then you are living your next best chapter. And we won't even talk about the chapter after that, because as long as you're alive, it keeps growing and it keeps going, and there are new chapters after new chapters. Sky's the limit. I don't think we ever reach our peak potential. But if you're contented where you're at, that's one thing. But for the most part, there's always room to grow. But don't look too far into the future. Become the best version of yourself right now. Put one foot in front of the other and go toward the new chapter. I am very excited for you, because it is interesting when you make these kinds of changes, and forced changes are not good, but if they're natural changes that take place because you're slowly working toward it, it's becoming a part of who you are. But at some point, you'll look back, remember who you were and who you are now, and it is unbelievable the changes that we can make without something going on, like without having a trip planned. Just living day to day, putting one foot in front of the other. I know sometimes when we're listening to people talk, we visualize what they look like, and I don't know about you, but I'm usually always wrong. So I made a video of myself for my listeners to look at and listen to, so they have a better idea of who is speaking to them. You can find my video on TikTok under the name of Lynette, Lynette, last name Mieglitz, Mieglitz. You can also message me any questions there. with that being said, I thank you for listening, and I will speak to you next week. Bye-bye.